You've been sold a lie that to win in the markets, you need to know more. That success is an equation of accumulation. One more book, one more course, one more technical indicator blinking on your screen. You were told that information is power, and you obediently became an information addict. You devour analogous, follow 20 gurus on Twitter who contradict each other, pay for telegram signals that arrive late and are dead wrong, and have a chart that looks like the control panel of a spaceship about to disintegrate. RSI, MACD, Bollinger Bands, names that sound like arcane spells, like secret knowledge, and all the while, you keep losing money. Or worse, you remain paralyzed, drowning in an ocean of contradictory data, unable to pull the trigger. You feel that icy frustration in the pit of your stomach, the sense that despite all your effort, you're missing a key piece, the piece that the ones who do win, must possess. So, you get back on the hamster wheel, to search for more, to learn more, to consume more. That is not the pursuit of knowledge. It is a ritual of and it's built on the biggest and most profitable lie in the financial industry. To demolish that lie, we don't need a new indicator. We need to travel to a windowless room in the basement of an administration building in Pearl Harbor. In the spring of 1942, the air is a thick soup of cigarette smoke, sweat, and the electric hum of radio equipment. This isn't a university campus. It's the basement of desperation. It's the headquarters of Station Hypo, the U.S. Navy's cryptanalysis unit. And in command is a man named Joseph Rochefort. Is not a trader, but his job is identical to yours. Find a profitable signal amidst a deafening noise. The noise, in his case, is the Japanese naval code, JN-25. Thousands upon thousands of intercepted messages, an incessant torrent of encrypted gibberish spat out from the Pacific ether. His team works around the clock, with bloodshot eyes, searching for patterns, fragments, anything that will give them an edge. Most of what they intercept is junk. Weather reports, logistical orders, administrative chatter, noise. But amid all that noise, Rochefort and his team begin to detect a faint signal, a repetition, a two-letter designation that appears with increasingly alarming frequency in high-level messages. Rochefort develops a hypothesis, based not on overwhelming certainty, but on an intuition forged from thousands of hours of staring at the noise. He believes AF is the code name for the next major Japanese target, and his gut, his analysis of the context, tells him that AFF is Midway Island. An attack on Midway would be a devastating blow, an attempt to lure out and annihilate what was left of the U.S. Pacific Fleet. This is where the story stops being about cryptography and becomes a brutal lesson in discernment. Rochefort presents his conclusion to his superiors, and Washington pushes back. The intelligence, bureaucracy, and the capital, the experts, the senior analysts, the men with more stripes on their shoulders and bigger desks, reject his theory. They have their own data, their own sources, their own theories. They believe AF could be the Aleutian Islands, in Alaska, or even the U.S. West Coast. They have more resources, more personnel, more information. They are the consensus of the wise. They are the noise of authority. They tell Rochefort he's wrong, that his interpretation is provincial, that he's not seeing the big picture. They ask for more proof, more data, more confirmation. They ask him to accumulate more. Imagine the pressure. The fate of the Pacific War is hanging by a thread, and the intelligence establishment is telling you that your only clear signal is probably an illusion. They are drowning you in doubt. They are asking you to ignore your one high probability signal in favor of their low probability. Rochefort doesn't try to argue with the noise. He doesn't try to collect more useless data to satisfy bureaucrats 1,000 miles away. He understands that more information will not lead to clarity, but to more confusion. Instead, he designs a trap, an elegant, simple test to force the signal to reveal itself unequivocally. With Admiral Nimitz's approval, Rochefort orders the garrison at Midway to send out an unencrypted radio message, in the clear, for the Japanese to intercept. The message is a deliberate and carefully crafted lie. Our water distillation plant has suffered a breakdown. We are in urgent need of fresh water. It's bait. It's a direct question to the market. Rochefort and his team sit in their basement and wait. They don't look at 1,000 indicators. They don't read the opinions of other analysts. They listen. They wait for the answer to their one question. A few days later, they get it. A new Japanese intercept. An encrypted message sent from an outpost to a fleet commander. Rochefort's team feverishly deciphers it. The message reads, AF reports, water shortage. The game is over. They didn't need more information. They needed the right information. And to get it, they had to actively ignore the experts, distrust the consensus, and create a situation where the truth had no choice but to show itself. They had to subtract, not add. The result of that act of discernment was the Battle of Midway, the turning point of the war in the Pacific, a victory that, on paper, was impossible. And this is where that smoke-filled room in 1942 collides violently with your screen in 2024. That Twitter feed, you can't stop refreshing. those Telegram groups, those YouTubers with their screaming face THUMBNAILS. They are your Washington, D.C. They are the cacophony of self-proclaimed authority, each with their own theory, drowning out any signal you might have. That new indicator you just added to your chart, that complex strategy you saw on a web, that 500-page book promising the Holy Grail. They are the thousands of meaningless JN25 code intercepts. It is the noise that gives you the false sense of doing something productive, when in reality, you're only adding layers of confusion. Your paralysis by analysis, that feeling that you're always missing a piece of the puzzle, that fear of being wrong. That is the doubt the Washington bureaucrats sowed in Russia. It is the result of listening to too many voices. The uncomfortable truth is this. You didn't lose money on your last trade because you didn't know enough. You lost money because you knew too much. Or, more precisely, because you listened to too much. You listened to Washington. You listened to the noise. You confused activity with progress. You confused data accumulation with the development of judgment. You believed that authority equated to truth. Your job as a trader is not to be a library. It is to be a ruthless filter. Your job is not to learn every strategy in existence. It is to find one, just one, that resonates with you. And then, like Rochefort, design small, controlled tests to see if it works in the real world. You're back. They are your way of asking the market, is this real? Discernment is not a passive skill. It is a violent act of rejection. It is the courage to close the 20 browser tabs. It is the discipline to mute the guru of the day, even if everyone else is listening to them. It is the will to look at a clean, almost naked chart, and to trust the little you have decided to watch. It is the strength to sit on your hands and do nothing for days, weeks, waiting for your AF signal instead of trading out of boredom on the background noise. They stopped teaching you how to think. They started teaching you how to accumulate. They turned you into a consumer of financial information, not a producer of results. The industry's business model is not to make you win. It's to keep you hooked on the information stream, always looking for the next fix, the next solution. You have to declare your rebellion against that model. Your path to profitability doesn't come from adding one more thing. It comes from stripping away. It comes from a radical detox. It comes from finding the silence in the middle of the madhouse. The real skill isn't analysis. It's looking at a mountain of information and having the clarity and confidence to say, this is garbage. This is noise. This is the opinion of someone trying to sell me something. And this small, faint signal right here, this is the only thing that matters right now. And I'm going to bet on it. And I'm going to ignore everything else. Joseph Rochefort didn't save the U.S. fleet because of what he knew. He saved it because of what he was willing to ignore. Selective ignorance is not a weakness. It is your sharpest weapon.